Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Rohan Khandelwal, your Marrow Surgery faculty, and it's an absolute honor to be introducing Dr. Prem to all of you who has secured rank 2 in the recently conducted NEET PG exam. Now, all of us, when we are preparing, there are certain mentors, there are certain guides, there are certain people whom we look up to. And Dr. Prem also had one such person whom he wants to dedicate this rank to. So, congratulations, Dr. Prem. Please tell us something about yourself.
Thank you, sir. My name is Prem Tilak. I'm currently pursuing my internship from BJ Medical College and Civil Hospital in Ahmedabad. I'm a South Indian by origin. My mom is from Kerala and my dad is from Tamil Nadu. So, 1 week before NEET PG, my grandfather passed away due to a health condition. So, I would like to dedicate this achievement to him because he was the one who always aspired to see me as a doctor and always pursued me to push my limits and achieve the best in whatever field I was pursuing, be it medical or surgery. And I'm also the first doctor in my family, so it's a really big honor for me to bear the gauntlet and throw down the gauntlet for future generations in my family.
I'm very sorry for your loss, but I'm sure he must be showering his blessings on you and the entire family. So, congratulations once again from our side. What is the mood at home? Did you expect this rank?
No, to be very honest, I did not expect such a good rank. So I was expecting a rank in the top 50 because of the variation in answer keys and because of the general reviews from my colleagues. But then a
Right.
rank of 2 is just beyond my wildest dreams.
I'm sure it's going to take some time and a lot of sweets for it to sink in. So we'll keep this short so that you can enjoy with your friends and family. So Prem, what was your primary source of preparation for your college and for the PG exam?
So for my NEET PG exam, it has been almost exclusively Marrow. Everything starting from the videos, the notes, the question bank, the test series, and the pearls and the recent updates, which I think are a hugely underrated part of the Marrow platform. And
Right.
to add to it, I use standard textbooks for my final year examination. But since
Mhm.
most of the key points in standard textbooks are already covered by faculty in Marrow, I use only Marrow for my NEET PG.
Perfect. Since when have you been using Marrow, Prem, and how did you get introduced to the platform?
So I've been using it for the better part of 3 years. It's been nearly 3 years since I took it in my second professional MBBS.
Mhm.
And as soon as you enter MBBS, one becomes familiar with Marrow. That is the impact it has on students in medical colleges all over India. I came to
Right.
learn about it from my seniors, who told me it was very convenient. You could watch videos at your own convenience, and that suited me because I'm not a really sit in the classroom type of guy. I like to choose my time of studying and time and manner of studying. So Marrow was perfectly suited to that for me.
Perfect. So if you would have taken it in second year, you would have plan C, you would have seen edition 5 videos of all the subjects. Any
Yes, sir.
particular subject faculty which impressed you the most or had a lasting impact on you?
So first of all, yourself. So because from the first year, I was not very interested in anatomy. It frightened me, the fact of having to learn so much. And so when I first started surgery, when I opened video one in surgery, I was full of fear. I was, how am I going to memorize surgery if I don't understand anatomy that much? But you simplified it so much that when I first opened Bailey, I started to like Bailey so much that I was considering shifting my specialty from medicine to surgery for a time actually. But then I started watching Rakesh Nair, sir. So that, and I started reading Harrison. So I felt
So
that
surgery is lost
medicine.
then.
I felt Rakesh Nair is a very Rakesh Nair sir is a very comprehensive source of information, and he covers almost everything that Harrison has to offer, like you do from Bailey. And Bailey
Mhm.
is coverable in third MBBS, but Harrison is beyond that. So for
Right.
surgery and medicine, you both were more than helpful for both my NEET PG as well as my college examinations. And OBS has
Mhm.
also been a weak part for me because I keep forgetting things. So Sakshi ma'am's
Right.
simplifying videos were very helpful for that. And for all the faculty, there are nine. Or if I have to say each name, I have to say 19 names because that's the truth. I won't be
Right.
doing favors to anyone because I'll have to mention all of them. So,
No, I'm
and
sure
apart from that,
everyone puts in their hard work, and it's always gratifying to see students like you appreciating our work. So Prem, I have a very practical question now.
yes,
So
sir.
edition 5 changed to edition 6, and the pattern of the notes changed slightly. And some of the subjects, there were a lot of updates, so some hours were added on. How did you deal with that? Because that is something which a lot of students keep on asking us.
So I went it with a two-pronged approach. So there were some subjects and concepts which I felt I was weak with. So I watched the videos of those subjects from scratch, from edition 6. For example, in gynecology, there were many updates. So I had to go
Mhm.
through that. And there were some topics in medicine as well. I don't recall them exactly, but while reading, as and when one felt as if this is not clear enough, I might mess this up on a question. So I went through the videos of that topics. But for topics which I was relatively well versed with, and I was confident that I knew the concepts and I just needed to refresh myself, I went through the notes of those subjects once and just picked out changes from edition 5 to edition 6, which I will have to revise later on.
So again, one more question here. So when you saw Dr. Sakshi's edition 6 videos, did you add points to your edition 5 notes, or you had edition 6 notes in front of you?
I made fresh notes from edition 6 actually.
Fresh
For
notes.
OBS, I had to make fresh notes.
Perfect. For other subjects where you were just being selective with the topics, did you
Yes.
utilize your edition 5 notes, or you again made notes?
Actually, I had made a set of notes from edition 5.
Hmm.
So I just added on to that whichever I felt I was new and whichever felt I would forget or which was likely to be asked in the examination or a key asking point or a key learning point. So that way I added to my notes. So my eventual notes were a composite collection of both edition 5 as well as edition 6.
Perfect. So I think so that's a very important point which Dr. Prem is highlighting, that for subjects like Obs and Gynae, where there was a new edition which came in, he had to make new notes. But for other subjects, his prime source was the edition 5 notes, and he just added on the extra points at another source. So then he had combined notes for both of them. So there was no FOMO of going through edition 6 notes for all the other subjects. And that's what he's trying to highlight. He played it very smartly, and that is how you save time and you can prepare better. So, Dr. Prem, can you also give users who are going to prepare for future exams some insights into how you saw the videos? You know, sometimes students ask us that how long should be one subject be, right? You know, should we watch it at 1x? Should we watch it at 2x? How many days for the first reading? So, some insights into that.
So first of all, I would like to tell that I'm not a very organized reader. First of all, I had actually no plan till the middle of my internship. Actually, I read whatever I felt I was weak in or I had to brush up on. I read all 19 subjects once, but there was no set plan that I had to complete this much subjects in 10 days. And I would also like to stress the fact that everyone has his or her own strategy. There is no single strategy which you can use to get ranks. So you should tailor each subject to your own liking. So if you are watching videos for the first time and concepts which are really detailed and which are really crucial, you must watch it in 1x. But those topics which you have already read from standard textbooks and all, for example, microbiology, which you have from, if you start from the basics and you feel your basics are strong and you are short on time, you can go for 2x. But core concepts which you feel you're weak in, you must watch them at least once in 1x.
I agree. So I also believe in the same, that if you're starting off in second year or third year, or even if you're starting off an internship and you have a lot of time, the first reading is very important. And if you pressurize yourself too much, I think so you cut corners and you don't understand concepts. When you do it in a relaxed manner like you did, I think so you're able to build better concepts. And that is the point which, that is where we say that you should start early so that you
Yes,
get
sir.
enough time to watch these videos. Perfect. So, Dr. Prem, from videos moving on to questions, you have been using Marrow since second year. So, were you
Yes.
using the question bank since second year, or the question bank you started using more towards your internship?
So I started the question banks almost simultaneously with the videos
Okay.
because I
So,
used to every yes, sir.
I'm sorry, even in second year, when you used to watch the video, you used to solve the questions.
Yes, sir, definitely.
Okay. And was it after a certain gap of a few days, or immediately after watching that video you used to do the QBank module of that subject?
So when I started out, have a very good guide as to how I was supposed to solve QBanks. So I used to solve QBanks immediately after watching the videos. But then at one point in one of Rakesh sir's videos, he said that if you solve a QBank after a period, suppose say after a month, that actually helps you gauge how much you have remembered. So if you solve a QBank after immediately solving after watching a video, you are bound to get a good score, and that will give you a false sense of security that you are already strong in this subject. So if you are going to test your memory, then you have to give it after a period of say 1 month. So then I started doing that, and after 1 month, if I got questions wrong or if I felt the explanations to such some questions were really nice, I would bookmark them and I would go through my bookmarks from time to time, say once in a month or say once, so I could revise all tricky questions once more.
Perfect. So, like you said, there are two ways to proceed. One is to do questions immediately after a video module. That re-emphasizes things, reinforces the points, but it gives you a false sense of satisfaction that you know that. And if you do it after some time, that tests your midterm or long-term memory. So both
Yes.
approaches are fine. And like Dr. Prem said, that you need to tailor make your approach and whatever suits your preparation style. Coming on to the modules, did you solve all the QBank modules and did you reset the QBank as well?
I reset it once at the beginning of my final year. Yes, and I did solve all the modules at least once. Yeah.
And let's talk about bookmarks because that's again a pain point for students where they say that they end up with 3,000, 4,000 bookmarks, but they don't know how to revise them or to reduce the number. Any tips to crack that problem?
So the only solution to that I have found out, even I had 2,000 to 3,000 bookmarks when I started out. So the only solution that I found out personally is to review them periodically. So once in 2 months, if you are bookmarking questions, you will tend to remember a few over time. So if you remember a few of them after 2 months, you can, and you're sure that you will not get this wrong in the question, the examination anymore, you can remove that from your bookmarks. So at the end of your final year or during your internship, you're left with a select collection of bookmarks, which actually represents questions which are really tough or you really find tough or which have concepts which you tend to forget. So it is very important to review your bookmarks periodically.
Yeah, that I think so is very important. And I have two small tips here. I mean, I was talking to a few students. So one student said that, it's by default, the first thing which we do in the morning is to pick up our phone. So what he used to do in the morning, the first 10 minutes, he used to review bookmarked MCQs. And that became a habit, right? Or as Dr. Prem is saying, once a month or once in 2 months, you need to dedicatedly take out half a day and review your bookmarks to reduce the number. That's the only way to cut them down, is to revise them again and again. So, Prem, did you take part in any of the marathons?
No.
No.
No,
I
I
think
used to
so.
solve QBanks otherwise also, but I didn't. As I said, I'm not a very hardworking person, to be very frank. I'm not a very hardworking person or a very managing person or a very meticulous person is the word, I guess. So I used to see the notifications from Marathon, but I followed. I think it's a very good initiative, but I was already following another plan for my QBanks as such. So I used to solve about 5 QBanks a day. So I went with that.
Which is essentially what marathon does, but you had already made it a
Yeah.
habit, so you didn't need to follow
So,
that
yeah.
separately. Perfect. So, coming on to the tests now, right? And there is a lot of debate which is going on that the tests are sometimes very difficult. They don't mimic the actual exam. So, my first thing which I want to ask is that the national mock which you appeared for, what was your rank in the national mock?
I think it was 7. It is an all India rank of 7.
So, I mean, it almost mirrored your actual rank. You got a rank two, you were seven there. And your GT rank in general, in your internship, how did it progress from the start of the internship till the time you were ready to appear for the exam?
So at the beginning of my internship, I was getting consistent ranks under 10. So I guess that led to a sense of complacency creeping in. So I started relaxing out a bit, and as more people started giving GTs, my rank actually belonged to fall. So my rank fell about 20, or it didn't fall much, but still a drop from say 7 or 44 is a bit of an alarm because on the day actually anything can happen. So then I
Right.
had to buck up. I had to buck up again, and then my rank started rising again. And by the end of my internship towards NEET PG, it was back in the top 10, top 20.
Perfect. So I think so. Watching those videos during your formative years, your third, fourth year, helped you to get such a rank right from starting. But would you like to share some tips with users who are not performing that well in GTs, or their rank is stagnating, or it is not improving? What tips would you like to share with them?
So the first tip I would like to say is no one starts out with a great rank. When I started giving GTs, my score was not even 50%. So it is but natural to lose hope at beginning because you see people scoring nearly 80% and you're not even touching 50%, even if you have completed your entire syllabus or not. So the thing here is giving GTs is important, reviewing GTs is important, but the point is to not get carried away with ranks, even if they are good or bad. If they are good, you might get lulled into a sense of complacency, and if you get too upset about bad ranks, you might get downhearted. So the important thing is reviewing and continuously giving GTs. Many people don't give GTs out of fear of getting a bad rank. So friends have actually asked me, when should you start giving GTs? And if you get a bad rank, isn't that a bad hit to your morale? So I tell them, better get a bad rank in a Marrow GT than in the actual thing. So that
Absolutely.
is why
Better,
practice GTs are
I mean,
fun.
you better perform badly in practice so
Yeah.
that you get pulled up and you do well in the actual match. So, absolutely. So, my first question, when was your first GT?
Towards the first of my first MBBS. Even I think that's late actually. I started late
Okay.
actually.
How frequently were you taking GTs during your internship?
All GTs as and when they became live, I followed them. I was planning to give a few of the previous GTs, say in 2019 or 2021, but they didn't actually reflect the question pattern which was being asked right now. So that was no, I skipped that. But as and when GTs came live, I would give all of them. All of them.
All right. Perfect. Okay, we will talk about some of the other features of Marrow slightly later, but I want to touch on two or three, again, very important things for which I've got messages. So, number one, what was your score in NEET PG exam this time?
So you said in National NEET mock my rank was 7, or which mirrored my rank in the actual exam, right? My score
Right.
in National NEET mock of Marrow was 720, and my actual score is 721.
Wow, that's great. So, I mean, you can see the correlation, which is why it's important to appear for these mock tests so you know where you're standing. Perfect. So, 721, that's an amazing score. Now, Dr. Prem, let's come back to the last 1 year of your preparation. That means your internship. Till your internship, you had a solid base, you had seen all the videos, you had read all the notes. What did you do during this 1 year of actual NEET PG preparation? How did you approach?
So the most important part I felt is giving GTs. As many
Okay.
GTs you give, the better prepared you are for the exam. And
Mhm.
another very underrated aspect of the Marrow platform is the pearls. Like I
Uh-huh.
have actually conjectured how much one would get if one read just the pearls. If you read pearls and each question which comes with pearls, I'm pretty sure at least 130 to 140 questions can be answered because the pearls are very extensive and they are very short.
So,
So,
so what you're trying to say is that Pearls is your last minute revision strategy or your 20th notebook, which is being created in the app. It's just that you have to go through it. But what was your strategy of going through Pearls? That's very interesting. How did you go through Pearls?
so once you have a solid base of understanding concepts and solving QBanks, you have to go through each subject systematically. So you also have a system of bookmarking pearls. So there are some pearls which are absolutely different from question banks. You won't find questions related to those pearls. I found pearls which have no question banks and they're really hard and they're really different from what is offered in the notes. So you can bookmark them and you can review them while you're reviewing your bookmark questions as well. And
Okay.
once you are solid with your concepts, you will find that you will go through pearls much faster as you progress through your revision.
So let's simplify things and be more practical. You were doing your internship. Say you were
Yes.
posted in a department where there's work till around 4 or 5 o'clock. Okay,
Yes.
what was your average day like? Can you just
So
run
I
us
would
through?
so on a routine emergency day, they would call us at 8.
Okay.
So if you woke up at 6, you barely had time to revise, say, two subject, a pearls of two subjects, short subjects such as dermatology and radiology, and then you
Right.
could rush for a cup of tea and breakfast, and you have to go to work. So that's where
Mhm.
pearls and QBank bookmarks come in handy. So when you're sitting in a ward or in an emergency room, there will be periods when you will be free, at least in at for some short periods of time. So
Right.
during that time, it is very difficult to take out your books and search for things where you are bookmarking stuff and watch videos in that atmosphere, because people don't like to study in a work environment. For some people, study environment is very important. So in that situation, you can rapidly go through pearls, and you can also solve custom modules. If you want to revise QBanks of all subjects, you can say, choose a custom module which caters to subjects or concepts or aims or types of questions which you feel you need to revise, and then you can go through that. So on emergency days, we had 12-hour shifts, so I had to come back at around 8 in the night. So after that, I would be really tired. So if you get time, you can go through few more custom modules, or if you have made a schedule like some people do, that I have to watch 5 videos today. So you can watch 5 videos and make notes rapidly. And you can choose a mixer of videos you will feel you're weak in, so you can watch that in 1x. And strong videos will make you feel that okay, I have done enough revision for today, and that will give you a good sense of completion. So if you watch your revised videos once more in 2x, so that will give you a good sense of completion before going to bed.
Perfect. Moving on to another very important aspect, and that is revision, right? Time and again, we've been saying that the more you revise, the more number of times you watch the same thing is going to get ingrained in your mind and it'll become easier for you to answer in the exam. How many times did you revise during the course of your preparation?
So, like I said, I'm not a very good planner or a meticulous person. So,
Fair enough. I mean,
uh,
just being very candid about
so
it. That's
yeah, so I watched all subjects once, and I figured out from my GT scores and my QBank performances that there were a few subjects that needed revision badly. So there was OBS, and there was surgery, and there was ophthalmology. So these three subjects I was really really weak in, and even orthopedics, basically all surgical branches, which is why I want to take medicine. So so I went through the notes, and I used to point out the fact that I didn't forget all things from the notes. I was able to remember 50%, but the remaining 50% had a lot of weightage in questions. So I made a separate Word document regarding points and concepts which I was forgetting from the notes. So instead of reviewing the entire notes the all the time, I went through surgery and orthopedics and obs, all the surgical branches at least 5 times, I guess. All the other medical subjects I had to go only twice or thrice, but surgery, obs, and ortho I had to go through at least 5 times to
so you made this
be strong.
concise notebook, which and you were just revising those multiple times.
Yes, sir. And that notebook included sources from everything: notes, recent updates, Pearls, QBank, and even GTs.
Okay. So another very important thing is previous year topics and previous year questions. How did you go about revising them?
So I think Marrow Notes actually covers more or less everything that is need to be covered. So except apart from that, in the QBanks we have previous year papers of each subjects. I went through that, and I used to mark out topics which were frequently being asked, and that was pretty much it. And I used to put more emphasis on those topics. And there were recall videos from NEETPG 2022 and 2021, and so I used to go through those recall videos, and those concepts which I felt I was weak in, I used to brush up again from the notes and words.
Okay. Last 1 month before the exam, how did you go about your preparation? And last 1 week, what all did you do?
So in the last 1 month, it's I reviewed all my GTs, the mistakes and guesses and skip, because I used to guess a lot of questions. So all mistakes silly mistakes which I had made or guessed, or I had guessed wrong or even guessed correct, I used to go through that. And the final little notebook which I had made, I had gone through so many revisions it that I was able to complete surgery in under a day. So I was quite fast with that, and that helped me. The last week, it is very important to not do too much, because I have a problem of not able to sleep. I'm pretty sure many people do not able to sleep
Right.
before the on the night before an examination. So I decided not to do too much. There was a just gave the last GT, which was 1 week before the examination. So that I gave that, and I reviewed that, and I went through all my bookmarks once, and that was pretty much it.
Perfect. All right. So basically, you had concised your weak subjects in such a manner that you were able to go through them in a matter of hours before the exam, and it didn't even take you one day or half a day to do those subjects. And
Yes,
that's how you hasten up your revision strategy. Perfect.
yes.
Dr. Prem, one more thing. How did you review your GTs? You've been mentioning that you reviewed your GT, you reviewed your GT multiple times. How did you go about revising your GT once you took it? So, supposing you took it in the morning, how did you go about reviewing it?
So I used to give it usually on Friday or Saturday. So once the results came out on Monday, first I would go through all that was wrong or I had skipped. So that highlighted areas which I had to really focus on, because a wrong question is a big pothole in an actual exam. So I would add those topics to the list of topics I had already made in surgery, gynec, or orthopedics. So ideally, one should go through all correct answers. So I try to concise to save time by, if I saw a topic which is repeated frequently and I was sure I was going to get that right even in my sleep, I would skip that question, and questions which I felt had a really nice explanation I would add to the bookmark. Because if you are already very strong in subjects, you are going to score 99%. So it didn't make sense to me to put much extra sense to get that 1% more right. Rather, I can focus on my
True.
weaker points to add 30 or 40% more. So
Absolutely.
I used to focus on my wrong and skip questions and questions which I had guessed, because you need to cut down on the guesses you make. Because guesses can take you from 720, or on your bad day can also make you fall down to 650. So I focused on the topics which I had to guess, which I was not very clear with. So, and yes, I had to review all my GTs, but I was very quick with the ones which I had gotten right, and I used to take some time with the ones I had gotten wrong or skipped.
So I think so. You've made a very interesting point here that reviewing GTs is important, and but what he did was that he divided time for all the subjects and especially the weak subjects. And he mentioned a very important thing that if he was already scoring 85 or 90% in one subject, there was very little scope of improvement because in any subject you cannot score 100%. So he focused more on those subjects where he was scoring 60, 70% because there was quite a lot of scope for improvement in those subjects. So, you have to face your demons, you have to face your weak subjects, and the sooner you do them, the better it is going to be for your exams. Perfect advice, Dr. Ken. Dr. Prem, some of the users are asking, what kind of a student were you in college? What kind of a rank were you getting in your university exams?
So in my first year, I had a university rank of 7. And
Okay.
contrary to expectations, I'm not
And
a
how
serial
many
university.
students were there in your batch?
Uh, in my college, there are 243, but the entire university has about 1,200 students.
Perfect. So you were 7 out of 1,200.
Yeah, in my first year, I was 7, but slowly I realized that I had to devote more time to my NEET PG prep rather than my university. It's a great achievement to people who do both, who can do both. But from a practical standpoint, I realized it was much more important and made much more sense to focus on NEET PG prep rather than my university examinations, because I felt university examinations were very subjective. So I used to get ranks in the top 20, in the university ranks of about top 20.
You've always been a topper then. Good. And other than studies, what are your hobbies? I was going through your Instagram handle and you happen to be a Man U fan. So you're into sports as well?
So I'm actually mad about sports. Even the 1 week before the exams, I wouldn't forfeit Manchester United's matches. And I had to give up the late night matches because it would then collide with my sleep schedule. Otherwise, I would even stay up late. I would study till about 1 in the night, and then I would used to watch a match, which would get me good night's sleep. And after that, I like quizzing very much, academic as well as non-academic. So that's another underrated aspect. People stick to books, and Marrow is very important. But I have attended quizzes whenever I have had the chance. I've attended biochemistry quizzes, all subjects basically. So when you prepare for quizzes or when you give quizzes, you are unconsciously prepping yourself for NEET PG, because you might pick up questions from everywhere. You have to be ready to get knowledge from anywhere, be it social media, med Twitter, or even offline quizzes, online quizzes, any sort of platform. Because so you must be knowing, the after evidence based medicine, the amount of knowledge we have is vast, and
True.
we one pageant of this examination and this branch in general is that you have to keep reading from wherever you get time. So I used to quiz a lot, And
True.
apart from that, I also like cricket, but I am more of a football fan. I also like playing football, so it relaxes my body and my mind. So I used to play turf football on weekends and whenever I used to get time. And I used to watch
That's
series
very
and listen
important.
to music.
That's very important to give yourself a break from studies so that you refresh your mind and you come back recharged and your productivity improves. You mentioned about social media, so one quick question: how did you handle social media in your last 1 year of prep? Were you using social media? How did you restrict your phone usage other than using Marrow on that?
The social media, I feel, is a double-edged sword actually, because there are many platforms which give you useful inputs for studying. There are short collages which help you revise vast topics in detail, including there are Marrow questions of the day. There are other sources of information regarding COVID-19, and if you have to be careful how you use it, because once I've faced it many times, you log in to do something and you end up doing something else for 20 minutes altogether. So it's very important to have a track of time, and if you feel you are really getting lost in there, or you feel you are losing so much time, it is ideal to uninstall it. But I think I was getting more benefit out of a loss from social media, because I used to follow medical pages on Twitter as well as on Instagram. So I didn't uninstall, and I felt social media support was very important from my friends and my juniors. I would also like to thank all my juniors who have been inspiring me, my friends, my parents, and everyone who's been wishing me all the best and inspiring me throughout my prep. So social media is very helpful if you use it the right way, but using it the right way is the key word here.
True, absolutely. Completely agree with everything you've said. So it was an absolute pleasure talking to you, Dr. Prem. I mean, you are so clear in your thought process, even though you keep on saying you weren't organized, but I thought there was a system to your madness, and which is what helped you to get this rank. So heartiest congratulations from our side. And we wish to see you as a medicine postgraduate in a top institute.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.